بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we are at another Thursday and another of our sessions where we relate anecdotes and stories from Islamic history and learn from the lessons that we understand from these stories. So inshallah today we are going to discuss a story about Bahlul. Now Bahlul rahmatullah alayh, he was a pious person and he lived in the time during the Khilafah of Harun Rashid. Harun Rashid himself, he was a very good king. He was a pious person as well. And, he ruled over vast amounts of land and countries. So now Bahlul, people usually, they would often look down upon him. So although they would not take him seriously, but Bahlul, he was not a foolish person. He would often go into the court of Khalifa Harun Rashid and they would discuss casually matters of mutual interest. And because he was seen as a naive person, so his naivety was, you could say, a source of entertainment for the court of Harun Rashid. Now one day Bahlul came into the court of Harun Rashid, and Harun Rashid, some say he had a knife and some narrations mention that he had a walking stick in his hand. So the Khalif, jokingly, he said to Harun Rashid that the Khalif Harun Rashid, he jokingly said to Bahlul that, Bahlul, come here, I have a request for you. So Bahlul said, what is it? So the Khalif replied that I am handing this walking stick to you as a trust. And this was meant for the most foolish person in the world. So he says, if you find a greater fool than yourself in the entire world, then you should hand this walking stick over to him and say that it is a gift from me. So now Bahlul agreed because he was a simple person, Bola Bala. He agreed and the Khalif handed this walking stick over to him. Now the request was actually intended to mock Bahlul with the message that there was nobody in the world who was more foolish than Bahlul. But Bahlul, rahmatullah alayh, he made no fuss about the joke and he just took the walking stick and he walked out of the court. Now years passed by and one day Bahlul, rahmatullah alayh, he received the news that Harun Rashid, he was seriously ill and he was bedridden. And various forms of medication were given, but there was no success. So no type of medicine seemed to work. So Bahlul decided that he would go and visit the Khalif Harun Rashid. So as he entered into his room, into his chamber, so he asked him that, Amirul Mu'mineen, how are you feeling today? So he says that he replied, my time is up, that I think I have commenced my journey. So Bahlul asked him, where are you going? He said he's commenced his journey. He asked him, where are you going? So the Khalifa answered that I will soon leave this world for the hereafter. So then Bahlul asked him that how long will you stay there for? And after how many days will you return? So how long are you going there for and when are you going to return? So the Khalifa replied that this is the journey of the hereafter. And nobody comes back or returns from this journey. So Bahlul, he then asked him that if you will not return from this journey, then you must have made some preparations. That how many armies or delegations have you sent forth to welcome you and make your stay there comfortable? So the Khalifa, he replied that again, you are talking like a foolish person. that a man goes alone on his journey. It's the hereafter. There's no coming back. A person goes alone. No companions, bodyguards, or armies may accompany him. And I have made no preparations for this journey. So this is the journey that he's going to go there forever. But he's saying he has made no preparations for this journey. So Bahlul then asked him in surprise, I am surprised that you haven't prepared for a journey for such a long duration. This journey is going to be for long duration. And you are saying that it is a destination from which there is no return. So you're going to go there forever and you'll never come back. So I remember well how in this world you used to carefully, prepare and send out armies and soldiers ahead of your departure. So before you went anywhere, you would prepare everything in advance while you are healthy. So when you aren't ill, you would prepare everything in advance for your journeys in this world. So why are you so relaxed regarding this journey of forever that you're never going to come back? So the Khalifa then again replied to him, on this journey there is no army or soldiers are allowed to accompany a person. So he never understood what kind of question, what line of questions that Bahlul is asking him. So then Bahlul explained to him and said that I have something which you gave me as a trust many years ago. And then he says this was the walking stick. And he says, you asked me to hand it over to a person who was more foolish than myself. But he says, I searched for such a person, but could not find a person until today. So he says to Harun Rashid that you are more foolish than me. He says to the king, to the Amir Mu'mineen, that you are more foolish than me. He says, I noticed how you would go out of your way to prepare for the shortest of journeys, months ahead of time. You would arrange the food, the tents, bodyguards, and so much more just to make your life comfortable. And you would send these ahead of your departure so that your entire journey would be in luxury. But for such a journey from which there is no return, you're saying you've prepared nothing. And then he says, I have not found a more foolish person than you. And he says, I would like to return this walking stick to you. So hearing that, Harun Rashid, the Khalifa, he began to cry. He burst into tears and he said, oh Bahlul, you have spoken the truth. That I regarded you as a fool my entire life. But in reality, you are a very, very wise person. You understood the reality of life better than me. You have understood the reality of life better than me. I have wasted my life in this world by not preparing for my journey towards the Akhirah. So this is the realization that Harun Rashid came to. And that's the lesson which Bahlul wanted to teach the king, wanted to teach Amirul Mu'mineen. So this story speaks to all of us. It speaks to all of us that we may not be kings, but we plan our trips, even if we're going away for a few days, we plan our trips very, very carefully. So how about preparing for the journey of eternity, a journey which will be forever and ever? How about making the preparation for the hereafter? How about making the goal of hereafter our main purpose of our life here? In a hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, "Al-kayyisu man dana nafsahu wa amila lima ba'da al-maut." That the truly intelligent person is the one who controls his desires. Wa amila, and he prepares, he does all the actions lima ba'da al-maut, for life after death. So the true intelligence lies with those people who pursue the greater goal of preparing for the life of the Akhirah. There was one very important question that it can apply to all of us. That suppose that you learn that you only have one more day to live. You only have one more day left of your life, and tomorrow you are going to die. So how will you spend your day? How will you spend your day? That's the question. This person, he was writing a book, and he posed this question to great ulama, great scholars, and people who are known for their virtuous life. So he presented this question to them, that if you are to die tomorrow, today was your last day, then what changes would you bring in your life? What would you do more in your life? So his intention was that he would record these answers in a book so that the readers would be, would gain inspiration when they read the answers from these ulama regarding the important good deeds and the virtuous actions they would do. So now the most inspiring answer came from a very great muhaddith. His name was Abdurrahman ibn Nu'aym, and he never prepared any list. So the question, he went out to find out a list of actions to be done. But the most inspiring answer was received from a person who never prepared any type of list. What does he say to the answer? He says, there is nothing I would change in my daily schedule. In my daily schedule, there is nothing that I would change. Why? Because he goes that if I learn today is my last day, I will not change anything. Why? Because I already spend every day of my life as if it is going to be the last day of my life. That he would spend every day of his life as if it is going to be the last day of his life. Such a wise person. And that should be our goal as well. That should be our goal as well. That we spend every moment of our life thinking of the akhirah. That thinking as if today I were to die, what answer am I going to give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What face am I going to show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we do commit so many sins. If we were to hear we have to die, then we would probably be so scared that what am I going to do now in my life? But we need to understand that if we remember death all the time, then this will take us out of our slumber, and it will remind us that one day we have to leave this world and the purpose of our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the true understanding and make us from those who prepare ourselves for death and the life of the hereafter, which is forever and ever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. And the hereafter is better and everlasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Jazakumullah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.